Hey, what's going on everyone? In today's video, we're going to be going over the assembly process on this 12 by 16 Purple Leaf hardtop gazebo. Now, this one is made by Purple Leaf, and what's cool about it is it has a double roof. It has some ventilation up top where the wind can go up underneath and come out of there. Now, that's good for two reasons. That's going to help you with the wind when it gets windy, to help keep this thing from blowing away somewhat. Now you are going to want to bolt this thing down once you assemble it because it will blow away. Now I didn't bolt this one down yet in case I wanted to move it, but I am going to bolt it down soon within a week or so once I decide that this is where I want it permanently. And the next nice reason about that being a double roof with a vent up there is when I'm running that fire pit, it's going to give it somewhere for the heat and the fumes to go if there are any. And also when it gets hot underneath here in the summertime, that's going to allow it to stay a little cooler with that vent up there. Now this thing is rated for up to 40 mile/hour winds, and it's rated for a 2,500 pound snow load. Most of the frame on this, on the outside structure, is all aluminum, and the roof is galvanized steel with a powder coating. Really nice finish on there in my opinion. And the roof is warranted for 5 years. The frame is warranted for 1, and the curtains and netting are warranted for 2 years. And these are dyed yarn curtains, not supposed to fade very easily, but you can see here, really nice area now. And there's also 3 hooks up above in the center where you can hang different things from 3 different areas. Now Purple Leaf did send this to me to do the assembly video and to test it out and review it. Now I'm going to be doing a long-term review on this, so after the winter time when we get a bunch of wind and a bunch of snow, I'll update down below in the comments how this thing has been holding up. But until then, if you guys are interested in purchasing one of these, I'll leave links down below in the description where you guys can pick one up. Now those are probably going to be affiliate links, especially if you order off of Amazon, and I will make a small commission if you decide to use them, and I'll try to put any coupon codes down there that I could possibly get if they give me any, so that you guys can save a few bucks. But I appreciate it and thank you for the support. So let's get into the reason why I even wanted one of these and then start the assembly process. Whew. Oh, and if you found this video helpful and interesting, please make sure you guys stick around, subscribe, check out some of my other videos, and see you guys around on the next one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Whew. The first #1 reason why I wanted a hardtop gazebo is you could see that it just got done raining here and everything is soaking wet. Now every time I come out here and want to sit down on one of those nice comfortable chairs over there that don't have the cushions on them, I have to get those cushions out of this deck box, put them on the chairs and sit down. Then when I'm done, put them away, because every time it rains, if I leave them out, they get soaking wet and it's a pain in the butt. I just want to be able to walk out in the morning, sit down on a nice comfortable chair with a cup of coffee, whatnot, and then just go back inside and not have to worry about getting those cushions in or out when I want to relax. And then another good benefit is when it's raining, I'm going to have a nice area here to unbox my electric bicycles, put them together, and I could do that outside here when it's raining, which I couldn't do before. I was always over there, and when it was raining, I'd always have to hurry up and pack up and go into my garage. Now I could do it outside underneath the canopy, and it's going to be really nice for that. And I can't wait to get this brand new fire pit under that roof as well. That way I don't have to worry about covering it up or it getting wet. As you can see, it's in the daylight sun all day back here, super bright and sunny, and gets so hot back here in the summertime until late in the day. And I just want somewhere that I could sit, relax, and enjoy the outdoor weather without being in direct sunlight. Now I do have a sun cell shade that will go up on those brackets there and go to those 2 white posts there, but that's a pain in the butt having to put that up when it gets windy. You have to watch when it snows. You can't leave it up because the heavy load on it pushes it down, and I'm afraid those 4-inch posts are going to break. So this is going to be really nice out here in direct sunlight. Now I was super impressed with the delivery time on this. It was ordered on a Wednesday and delivered on the Saturday of the same week by FedEx. When you get this, it will come in 6 individual boxes, and when the canopy is all assembled, the 12 by 16 weighs about 415 pounds, and if you go with the bigger option of the 12 by 20, it's about 500 pounds when it's assembled. So when you get it, make sure you get all 6 boxes. All right, everyone, so the first thing you want to do is unbox everything and make sure that you have everything and that it is not damaged. So far, I got box 1, 2, and 3 opened up, and the only damage so far was just on one rail right here. It was just a little bit bent, no big deal. I'm going to go ahead and unbend that with this crescent wrench here. Should be super simple, and it's aluminum, so it will bend easily. Just gonna unbend that a little bit, straighten it out, and I think that's pretty good there. So really easy fix. One thing I did notice that I wasn't expecting is I thought that most of the frame was going to be aluminum, which a lot of it is. The posts are aluminum. The bottom feet are steel. You can see they're magnetic, and there's also a good bit of other parts that are steel as well that are not aluminum. So these are aluminum, these are steel, steel, steel. So there's a mixture between aluminum and steel, which is okay because I'm sure it'll add to the strength, but I was just a little bit surprised because I thought most of it was going to be aluminum and then just the roof was going to be steel. But I'm okay with that. That's a little bit extra weight to keep it down, and I think it's going to be a little stronger that way. And another thing I did was I unpackaged some of the screws already and put them into separate bins and labeled them so that it would be easier to grab than trying to get each individual screw out of here. But they are labeled really nice in packages so you know exactly what's what here. Everything seems to be labeled really well, but some of the parts do miss some of the labels. Like on these, they only labeled 2 out of the 4, and that was the same with the other 4 that were very similar to that. So you want to kind of keep those separate, not to get those mixed up, but so far so good. And you can see I had to put a 12 by 12 easy up today to assemble this, which is kind of ironic because it was raining all day. You can see everything's all wet, and it's supposed to rain again in about another hour. So I'm just going to work under here today until I get most of the pieces pre-assembled, and hopefully the rain holds off and I can get this thing together today and tomorrow. All right, quick update. So up until this point, I put the feet onto the legs. I got the top sidebars on both sides put together very easily. You just put the bottom bolts in at first, and then when you bolt these top rails on, it actually bolts the top in. But so far, very easy assembly. The instruction booklet here is all pictures. There's no words at all. So you just basically have to follow the diagrams. So far, it has been really easy. Everything was numbered good. And basically, you just got to look at the pictures and put it together as the picture goes. Now, for me, it's easy. Maybe not for everyone it will be this easy. I'm pretty mechanically inclined. At least I think I am. When you put these top parts on these top rails here, you want to just put these bolts finger tight because you want them to be able to move whenever you install your top trusses, and then you want to tighten these up in the end once everything's together. That way, if you need to move these back or forth a little bit to get everything to line up for your sheeting, you're able to do that. So just keep that in mind. Just hand tight these ones until you get it together and then tighten everything up. Back to the time lapse. So now at this point in the assembly process, we installed the long rails onto the legs, just pre-assembled those, making sure not to tighten the bolts up completely on these just yet. Then after that, I went inside and recruited some help to help hold those up while we installed the short top rails onto the short ends of the gazebo. Once those are all up, the wife goes in the house, puts up the blinds to make sure I'm not slacking, and then we check with the level real quick just to make sure everything's somewhat close. This process may not be needed. Then we installed the corner brackets, and once you get those installed, then you can go ahead and tighten the legs up completely. This sucks putting this up in the rain, but it's going to be super nice once it's up to have some kind of area where there is no rain. So we got the whole shell put up here and putting the corner caps on now. Now before you tighten any of these up, when you put these legs on, make sure you get these installed first before you tighten anything, because I tightened these and then we had to actually loosen them back up because these weren't lining up perfect. So make sure you leave all these loose until you get these on, then you can go ahead and tighten all the legs up. Onto the corner caps, and then hopefully the rain maybe stops for a little while, and then we'll get these top braces on. Oh, and one thing that I highly recommend is getting either a drill with a clutch or getting an impact gun and turning it all the way down on one if you have settings. You don't want to stay on high because you'll strip these all out, but you're definitely going to need something to make this go a lot quicker, more than just the Allen wrench that comes with it. And I'll put links down below to some adapters, if I could find them on Amazon, to pick up some of the bits that you can use to assemble this. Now the next part of this, they say to put the middle one on the center there and then one corner, and somebody hold it in the middle while somebody attached the corner here. So I don't know, we're gonna see how this goes, but you definitely need 2 people in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and see how this goes here. I mean, you might be able to do it with one person if you were pretty good, but I don't see how. Well, I need to get the Allen wrench. Let me get the Allen wrench first. But so far, so good. Oh, wrong Allen wrench. except for that part. And you don't want to tighten any of these all the way up until you're closer to the end. So I got that one started. This one I could use the drill to make it go quicker. All right, got those ones started, not real tight. Now we're gonna go over and do one of these other corners. And good thing the brother-in-law was in this weekend to help out. He didn't know I was gonna put him to work. Hold on, I gotta go that way more. Okay. And I would say that putting these on is probably the hardest part of the whole thing, only because you need extra help holding it. Okay, that one started. Let me get this bolt in up here. Okay, that one started. Gonna need the Allen wrench for that one. Get these two underneath with the drill. So as you can see, that's probably the hardest part, is getting these uprights on. I feel like so far it was pretty easy to this point. It's got to go in a little bit more. Right there. But I'm excited. I can't wait to get this thing done. It's going to make it so much more homey and cozy out here. All right, got those loose. Now it'll stay by itself, and actually one person can probably finish it from here on out. You just need somebody to help you get started. It would make it a lot easier. Pull that in and shut it off, bud, because it must have disconnected. Make sure it got all that. I hope so. Now once you get the center main part of the roof up, then you can go ahead and install all the other trusses. Now I could have probably done this myself, but I had help there, so figured why not use it. They went on pretty easy, and I did tighten these up completely. However, it probably would have went a little easier if I left them loose. Then I installed the trim on the inside, leaving that loose, and then the trim around the outside of the top, leaving that loose as well. All right, so I'm just about 5 hours into it, and I'm just about ready to start putting the tin on. Now, in the directions, it says to attach this rail around the top outside and then put the roof panels in. I found it a little easier to keep this basically unattached with the screw barely in there, and then leave this top loose so that you could have room to slide your panels up underneath that before you tighten the 3 screws down that hold this top piece on. So make sure you leave that loose, so that way you can lift this up here and slide this in here. And it's a little tricky because you got to get this up in there, and then you have to get this bottom in this notch here. So I just found it easier to leave this loose, and then once you get it in like that, to tighten this up, and then you can go ahead and tighten this cap up once you get all your panels in. These little plastic clips clip on the end of the panels here, and they are finicky. If you get them up in there moving them around too much, they will pop off, so be cautious of that. All right, so actually just the end rails were hard to slide to get up in. These side rails seem to go up in good with it mounted, so you can go ahead and mount this one on tight, and then these will just slide right in. But you do want to keep this top loose until you get all these slid in. Just like that. And then work your way back this way and slide this piece in last. Just like that. All right, everyone, so I ran out of daylight yesterday. This is the start of day 2. It's actually a little later in the day because it's super hot back here today. It's not raining today and the sun is out. So as you can see, I got the top installed yesterday and I'm working on the top. The next step, I'm on page 43, is to put the braces going around the center here. Then once I get those on, then I'll be able to install the roof sheeting. Now, one thing I want to show you, and this is one reason why I wanted this gazebo, is that it has built-in drainage in the end of these. The roof sheeting comes down to about here. The water will roll into these channels, come down, go down into these corners and come out the holes in the bottom of this corner here. These 3 holes, mostly out of this hole, but if it gets clogged, I'm sure it'll come out these 2. And that keeps the water from rolling off the roof and only coming out of the corners, which I thought would be nice when you're under there, or when you're going to walk under there, you don't have all that rain falling on you off the roof. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now keep in mind, if you have this under trees or areas with a bunch of foliage, these could get clogged pretty easily, especially in these corners. So you might want to take them out and keep them clean every once in a while. But that's one really nice feature about this. And one thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to seal this seam right here with some silicone. I believe there's a tube of that in there that I'm going to run right here. That way the water can't go down through this seam and leak out of the centers where these go together. And one thing I noticed up until this point, a lot of the fasteners you're going to want to leave loose until you get a lot of it assembled. And like I said before, I left these loose, the roof sheeting bolts to these. That way if I need to slide them a little bit one way or the other when I'm putting the sheeting on here, I can go ahead and do that, and then I'll tighten these up when I'm done. So let's finish up the roof installation. Okay, now in this step, this bracket here, which is U5 that already comes pre-assembled, goes in the center here. This just screws up to here like this. I actually have to loosen this up a little bit because it didn't fit. So that screws to the center there. And then I'm actually going to loosen this one as well. That way I got some play here. I'm going to get all these together. They give you these tiers that go in between these to mount those bars all the way around. I'll leave these loose until after I get the roof sheeting on, then I'll tighten everything up. So now I'm ready to finally start installing the roof sheeting going down the long end, and it went pretty well. I started from one side, worked my way down. Now once I got to the middle, I put 2 of the wrong screws in the center and had to go back and switch them out, which you could see that I'm doing right here. So don't miss that step in the manual, but overall pretty easy. All right, so I'm almost done with the sheeting on the first side of the roof here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's taken me longer than I thought to put this in. These holes are a little bit tricky to line up. That's why you wanna leave everything loose until you get them all in. Now, 2 things I wanna mention that I noticed is right in the center, there's 2 bolts, one down low and one up high, that go through that center support. Those are different sized bolts. I almost missed it, and I actually had to change the bolts out. And whenever you bolt this roof down, you'll put these rubber grommets here underneath the sheeting. They go up underneath every area where there's a hole, and then when you tighten the screw down, it will suck it down tight to this rubber, and that's what seals it. Now there's no seal, no gasket or rubber on the bottom of this bolt for the roof, so you could potentially get a little bit of water leakage down through there. You may or may not. I would have loved to have seen a little rubber washer on the bottom of these bolts on the roof here. So over time, after it rains, I'll update you in the comments whether or not it's leaking from these bolts. And they do give you a tube, which I think is gutter seal. It's hard to read because it's in Chinese, but this is what you're gonna wanna put on each one of these seams on the inside here to seal this gutter so it doesn't leak down through that gutter. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish up the rest of this roof and try to get it finished up tonight. All right, so I got one of the short sides done and I'm starting the other long side. Now I missed this step in the manual, but you should start with the 2 center panels first on each. And like I said before, make sure everything is still loose. It makes it easier. But start with the center panels and then do the ends. And it makes it a lot easier. I initially missed that step when I did this side, and it was kind of hard to get stuff lined up. It seems like the middle's gonna go a little bit easier now. All right, everyone, I got the roof on completely. All I have to do is go around, tighten the fasteners up, but it's getting dark here on day 2, so we're gonna continue this on a 3rd day. Now, one thing I wanna show you is we're gonna actually move this down and keep it down here away from that door, but my concern initially was having enough headroom there. You actually have 77 inches from the bottom of that beam down to the concrete, and my door actually sets up about 8 inches on the bottom, which puts my door a little higher. So it will work right there if I wanted it to. There's still enough room to walk out and down without hitting your head, unless you're like 6'6" like my father-in-law. Maybe he would hit his head, but still enough room as long as you kept it away a little bit. But that is because my door is raised up a little bit there. So see you on the next day. All right, we're back on day 3. I have everything tightened up and most of it put together. The only thing I have to do today is put the track up for the curtain and for the screen. That should go fairly quickly. That's these here laying here. It's a double track system. You could shut the screen for bugs, or you could shut the curtain to help you with sunlight or whatever you would want the curtain for. Up until this point, I have about 11.5 hours into it. And I do also have the Purple Leaf 24-foot solar LEDs light installed here. You can see they go from this corner here every 2 feet around to there, but there was not enough to finish there on the center. I could have put them up in the top and it would have went all the way around, but I would have had too many lights and I would have had to double them up. So I chose to just do 3 sides here. Now they do also make a 50-foot version. This is the 24-foot version, but it does give it a nice ambience at night with those being on. And I put the solar charger right there. There's a battery in there and it comes with a remote as well. So you can control 4 different brightnesses from 25% up to 100%. But even at 100%, they're pretty dim, so I'm probably going to leave them on 100. And it is raining again here on day 3, but I could care less because I'll be under roof today. So let's get this thing finished up. All right, so I'm on the last final steps. We're putting the curtain up. Now you get plastic clips that you have to install into the rails. These clips right here. And you can see some of them have a little bit of like stuff on them. I just trimmed these up with a razor blade flush. Some of them have this, some of them don't. I noticed these ones are a little hard to slide in the track, so just trim those up a little bit there. But on the long end on this one, you put 9 clips down each side, and on the short end 7. And again, this is for the 12 by 16 gazebo. And then you just got to match the holes up on the curtains. There's a strap that straps it to the post. From that strap, 7 holes over, that goes on the short end, and then the one with 9 holes goes on the long end, and then each seam zips in the middle. And then the screen goes on the inside part of the track. It's a double track. All right, so now it is raining pretty good here, staying really nice and dry under here. I can close these curtains and keep the rain from blowing in. The only water I'm getting is from my patio because it's sloped to these drains, so I am getting a little bit over here. This right here is staying pretty dry, because from here out slopes that way to that drain, but I am getting a little bit from there. And you can see the rain rolls off the roof, down the channel, and out the corner. But it doesn't roll off the edge of the roof, which is really nice. So have you ever seen those downspouts that were chains and the water follows the chain down? Well, I put a piece of string in that hole and the water is following it down pretty good into a bucket. So I think I'm gonna get a piece of chain and try that to see if the water follows the chain down, and that would be a little bit better than it just falling out of those corners, splashing up against the house. But one thing I did notice, it being up against the house, is on a heavy rain, the rain does hit the roof and splash on the house and does still get it wet a little bit back here, but not too bad underneath. But it's really nice that I could sit out here and enjoy the rain now. All right, so I finally got it all finished up. Now it took me about 13 to 13.5 hours to finish this assembly. Now that's also with me filming, with it raining. So I probably could have did this a lot quicker than that if I wasn't doing the filming and it wasn't raining. But anyway, I hope you found this interesting and helpful, especially if you're deciding on whether or not you want to purchase one of these and what is involved in the assembly, or even if you have to assemble it. I hope that this video helps you in understanding some of the assembly process on it. Now, like I said before, I'll leave links down below in the description. They will be affiliate links and I'll make a small commission if you use those, which helps support the channel, so I really appreciate it. But the #1 reason why I really wanted one of these is it's just so cozy and homey now back here, having somewhere to sit out of the rain, out of the sun, out of the snow, and just sit down and enjoy life. And I've been actually sitting out here for the past week editing videos Oh, and I bought my wife these new chairs. She had to have swivel rockers, so happy wife, happy life, right? And I'll leave a link down below in the description for these as well. If you guys are interested, you get 2 chairs and a table, and I think it was like $369 with shipping included because there was a coupon, so not too bad. But anyway, back to the gazebo. So yeah, I love it. And oh, and another reason, which I didn't even think of at first, why I love this gazebo now is because now I can grill out here when it's raining or when it's snowing. And I've been here for over 20 years in this house, and I never come outside to grill when it was a chance of rain or gonna rain. And I love grilled food, I love grilling out, and that's another reason why I love this thing now. So thanks for watching. Like I said, if you like this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you around on the next one. And leave a comment, it really helps my channel out. Thanks for watching, everyone.